Shana Tova, we are so delighted to be davening with you here for the Gan Chapel. My dear friend Dan Nesson and Eliza and me, Wes, in the Gan Chapel. We just love being here with you, and we can sense you. We're going to begin on page 35 with Elohim Shema. God gave us a soul, and it is pure.
Eloi, Eloi, neshama, shenatata bi tehorani. Eloi, Eloi, neshama, shenatata bi tehorani. Ata v'ata, ata yatzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata mishamra b'kirbi, Eloi, Eloi, neshama, shenatata bi tehorani.
We turn to page 37 for Birchot HaShachar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lezach bina levchin ben yom uvein layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokech ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, mabir sharumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, mabir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokoret al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'aseh likol tzorki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamachim et tzedek v'eret.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, uzer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, uzer Yisrael b'tivara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten Yaakov.
Amen. We are seated as we turn to page 42, the special psalm for Rosh Hashanah.
Hayom Rosh Hashanah Shavuot Omrim. Sipur shamayim utkei hayom omer al chol yamim. Adonai Eloheinu madir shimcha b'chol haaretz.
Page 44, our penitential psalm.
Adonai uri vishi mimina. Adonai uri vishi mimina. Adonai moschai mimechad. Adonai uri. Lach amar libi, bakshu fanai, Lach amar libi, bakshu fanai, et panai, avayad. Avakesh et panayich avakesh
Page 45. Mourners and those observing a yortzeit, please rise now for mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'olma divara chirute v'yamlich machute v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach liolam u'la'omei omaya. Yitborach v'yishtabach v'yitboar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yidadar v'yidaleh v'yidhalal shemei dekudasha barichu la'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiram v'yoma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav huyaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. We rise for Baruch She'amar, page 47.
Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam. Baruch Hu. Baruch Oseh v'reshit. Baruch Omer v'oseh. Baruch Gozer u'mekayem. Baruch merachem al haaretz. Baruch merachem al habriot. Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireyav. Baruch chai la'ad v'kayam lanetzach. Baruch bodeh umatzil. Baruch Shemo. Yadadai, 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 yadadai. Yadadai, yadadai. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Yadadai,
Amen. We are seated as we turn to page 69.
Tov le'odod l'Adonai, tov le'odod l'Adonai, u'lezamer shim ha'elyon. Tov le'odod l'Adonai, tov le'odod l'Adonai, u'lezamer shim ha'elyon. V'le'hagid b'boker, boker chesdecha, ve'emunatcha ha'leilot. Le'hagid b'boker, b'boker chesdecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot. Tov le'odod l'Adonai, tov le'odod l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shim ha'elyon. Voy, voy. Tov le'odod l'Adonai, tov le'odod l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shim ha'elyon. Voy, voy, voy. Le'hagid b'boker, b'boker chesdecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot. Le'hagid b'boker, b'boker chesdecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot.
Page 69, HaMelech.
שוכן על מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני וישרים נאוותיו בפי ישרים תתרומם ודברי צדיקים תתברך ולשון חסידים תתקדש וקדושים תתעלה.
Middle of page 69.
ואדון להלל שביח ממעל רבים להדר ולברך ולקדש על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך.
We rise.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. ילך אדוני אלוהינו אבותינו שרושך הלל ודברה ולממשלה נצח גדולה וברתילה ותפארת קדושה ומלכות ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני
ושמו.
אל מלך גדול ותשבחות אל ההודות אדוני נפלאות הבוחר בשרי זמרה מלך העולמים.
Amen.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבו
Amen.
מלבד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי מחייכון ויביכון וחייתכו בית ישראל בגלל בזמן קריב ימרו.
Amen. יהי שמי רבו מבורך ויעלם לעולמי עלמיה.
יתברך.
ישמי רבו מבורך ויעלם לעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותרומה ויתנשא ויתעטר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמית הקודשה
בריחו.
לעילוי וברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירת
אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך
ברוך אדוני
המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום מוריד הכל אור עולם יוצר חיים אורה לאופל המרוויין.
Amen. We continue on page 73. Today, of course, is not only Rosh Hashanah, it is also Shabbat. So let's sing El Adon together, bottom of page 73.
El Adon al kol
המעשים
המעשים
ברוך
ברוך
ומבורך
ומבורך
בפי
בפי
כל
כל
נשמה
נשמה
גדלו
גדלו
וטובה
וטובה
מלא
מלא
עולם
עולם דעת ותבונה
הסובבים אותו
אותו
המתגאה החיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד עלה בכבוד זכות ומישור לפני כיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מלכים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאה זיוון בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא השמש, ויזרח אורה, והיא כצורת
הלבנה.
שבח נותנים לו, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה,
Seraphim Theophanim, the higher HaKodesh. Continuing on bottom page 75, the El Baruch.
ונזכה כולנו, ונזכה כולנו, ונזכה כולנו, אור חדש, על ציון תאיר, 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 ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו.
Amen. Page 76.
והעינינו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא פתחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אמור ישועתה ובנו בחרת מכל מלשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סממת להודות לך וליחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר במו ישראל באהבה שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
Okay, wait, okay.
Tell him we're hearing him perfectly.
Okay, should we just put in batteries in anyway? It's half, it's half, it's only halfway though.
Okay.
Middle of page 78. Amen. We begin our Amidah together on page 81 as the ark is open. Page 82, Zachreinu.
Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'chodvenu b'sefer hachayim, l'manecha Elohim echayim, v'chodvenu b'sefer hachayim, l'manecha Elohim echayim.
Baruch Shema. Amen. Mechakel chayim b'chesed, mechayim metim b'rachamim rabim, samech noflim v'rofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei avar, michamocha ba'al gevurat umidah melach, melech meimid umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua, michamocha harachamim zocher yitzurav v'chayim v'rachamim. Baruch Shemo. Amen.
Le'olam Elohai Tzion, ledor vador, hallelujah. Kadosh Yosef, Tehilot Yisrael, Tehilot Yisrael, El Na.
We remain standing as our ark is open. We turn to page 85 for La'el Orech Din.
Levachen levava biyam din legola mukad badin.
לדובר משרים יהודים להוגד להוד בנים.
Ledover mesharim biyam din lahoged leya badin.
לבטיל יסחס מיהודים לזוכר בריתו בנים.
Levatik v'yasachas biyam din lezocher berita badin. L'chomer masa biyam din letaher chasav badin. Liodea machashava biyam din lechovesh kasav badin. Lelovesh tzedakah biyam din lamochel avonot badin. Lenorah tehilot biyam din lesaleach lamusav badin. Lion elekara biyam din lefoel rachamav badin. Letzofen ishtara biyam din lekone avada badin. L'rachem ama biyam din leshomer ohava badin. Remain standing as the ark is closed. Our Chazanit leads us in the Kedusha, page 86.
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו.
אז קדוש קדוש מתנשא
קודש קדוש דיר וחזק משמיעים קולו מנסים למצרפים ומתם ברוך יאמרו
Baruch kavod Adonai mi'mekamo. Ay, ay, ay. V'timloch aleinu, ki mechakim anachnu lach.
ממקומך מלכנו,
מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך, תמלוך בציון. מתי תמלוך, תמלוך בציון. בקרב ימינו, בקרב ימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון. בקרב ימינו, בקרב ימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקרב ותתקדש, תתקרב ותתקדש, בתוך ירושלים, ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור. לנצח נצחים, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לנצח נצחים. בינינו תיראנה, תיראנה מלכותך, כדבור השיר יוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, תהיה מלך גדול וקדוש אתה.
We continue individually, pages 87 through 91.
שים שלום וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום וברכה, שים שלום.
Kaddish Shalem, page 94.
יתקדש ויתקדש שם ברמה,
Amen.
ואומה תברא קהילתי במתמחותי, בחייכון ובמכון ובחייתך בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן,
Amen. Yesh me'raba mevara.
Le'olam Yiparach.
Brichu. Amen. 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 Elise Yashkoach on your beautiful, beautiful Psuke de Zimra and your beautiful Shachrit. It's such a pleasure to daven with you, Dan. Such a pleasure to daven with you and for you to harmonize together. So beautiful. So, as you know, we live in unprecedented times, and this is a Rosh Hashanah like none other. So let me explain to you the difference between this service and a normal service. At this point, in a normal service and a non-pandemic year, I mean, of course, not only you would be here in person, but besides that, the next thing we would do is the Torah service, and then from the Torah service to the Haftarah, from the Haftarah to Musaf, etc. This year, we thought that because this is all new and we're all doing this for the first time, we're going to try to take run a little bit of an experiment and do one communal Torah service, which is going to be at 11 o'clock, where all of us at Temple Emanuel can stand at Sinai together. The live stream will take you to one Torah service. So we're actually going to do the Torah service at 11, which means that we're going to pivot to Musaf. But before we pivot to Musaf, I wanted to talk about a single prayer that is always the most urgent prayer on the holidays and has particular urgency this year. And I want to ask you, there's so many parts of this prayer will just pop, 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 pop when you think about the pandemic. But I want to ask you to think about a single line that has just been, it's grabbed me by the lapel and shaken me and won't let me go. And I want it to do the same to you. And I want to ask you to think about what is our response to it. Because in all of your lives, this line never had such fierce urgency and fierce life as this year. But turn, if you will, in your Machzorim to Unatana Tokef. Elisa will be davening that with us in a bit, and of course there's so much emotion to it. Before we get to that emotion of singing it, I want us to think about what it is that we're saying. I want you to turn to the bottom half of page 143. Every one of these lines is going to pop with new urgency. Kama ya'avrun v'kama yibare'un. How many are going to die and how many are going to be brought into existence? Mi yichya u'mi yamut. Who shall live and who shall die? Mi v'kitzo u'mi lo v'kitzo. Who gets to live a nice, ripe life and die in their late 90s or early hundreds, v'kitzo, in their fullness of time? U'mi lo v'kitzo. Who dies suddenly, tragically, not before they had a chance to live a full and rich life. They had so much life yet to live, and they still died. That's lo v'kitzo. Then miva eish, who by fire. That's the headlines every morning. Miva mayim, who by water. That's the headlines every morning. Then go down to a few more lines. Miva ra'ash, who by earthquake. That's just nature's fury. And then umi va magefa, who by plague. And, all of us have said those words all our lives. Most of us have never thought much about magefa, who by plague. That is the novel coronavirus. We are living umi va magefa. But that's all prelude. That's not the line that jumped out the most. Go down 2 more lines. And this is what I want to invite you to think about. This is the single line I'm going to focus on in this service. Ask you to dwell on this. Mi yanuach umi yanuah. Who will be at peace and who will be troubled? Mi yanuach, who is at peace? Mi yanuah, who's troubled? I just want to dwell on that, double click on that, because the coronavirus has not treated all of us equally, not only in the country as a whole, but even in this congregation. I've had many conversations that go some version of this. I've had 100 conversations, maybe 1,000 conversations, with our members that goes something like this. Hey, John, hey, Jane, how you doing? How have you been weathering the pandemic? Answer, oh, thank God. Everybody we love is healthy. Everybody we love is safe. We're blessed, we know. We're privileged, we know. We live in a bubble. And, we have a second house in the Berkshires. We have a second house in the Cape. We have a second house in Vermont or New Hampshire. We have a second house in the Vineyard or Nantucket. Or we're just here in Newton or Brookline, and we're comfortable and safe. And actually, it's been a silver lining because, to be honest with you, all of our adult kids came. And so it's been amazing. I mean, we've been having dinner with all 3 of our kids, all 4 of our kids, all 2 of our kids, all 5 of our kids. They've been here for months. We haven't had this kind of time. And there's just it's just time. It's just time with our loved ones, and we're all safe, and we're all healthy. And that's me, Yanuach, who could be at peace. I mean, it's terrible what's happening out there, but me and Noach, but we're at peace. And then me and Noah, who is very much troubled, and obviously people who lose their jobs and lose their housing, lose their health care, who become food insecure, are in that category. And we've definitely had people, members of our community, who have lost their jobs, and they're in that category of they've been wounded financially in serious ways. But it's not only that. When I think about the last 7 months, we've had members who, when you say, how did the pandemic treat you, would not say, thank God we're in a bubble, we're safe. I mean, I've done funerals, we've all done funerals. I'm thinking about one man in particular, Sam Silverman, who died in his 90s. He was a member of our shul forever. He came every Shabbos morning. He had the Laurence Olivier voice. And he died in March during the heat of the pandemic. And when he passed away and when he was laid to rest, there were all these cemetery rules so that when the hearse came to the cemetery, men in hazmat outfits with like they were dealing with radioactive material came and took his casket and whisked it away, and then a big truck with a plow came and plowed the earth, and only his children and grandchildren were permitted to even be there, and they had to stay in the car, and Michelle and I had to be 15 feet away, and we spoke to cars. We spoke to the people who were in the cars. We didn't see the people. We saw the cars with one window down, and that's the funeral that Sam Silverman, may he rest in peace, got. And he wasn't alone. So, mi yanuach, this has been a season of intensity, and some of us have been at peace, and some of us have been troubled. And here's my question, 2 questions for you to think about. Where are you on that spectrum of at peace, blessed, privileged, we're in a bubble, or troubled, like we're really hurting? Where are you on that spectrum? And what does that summon from you? What does that summon from you? Wherever you are on that spectrum, from at peace to troubled, something is asked of us. Abraham Joshua Heschel taught us. God in Search of Man was the name of his 1950s book. God's in search of us. Something is asked of us. What is asked of you? We are going to continue now with our Musaf service on page 123. Elisa is going to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish. Amen.
Berichu Elamim kol birchata v'shirata tushechata v'nehemata b'miran v'yama v'yamaru
We daven the Amidah individually, pages 125 through 139. We are seated now as our Chazanit continues with Hineni on page 140.
Before I start with Hineni, I wanted to speak a little bit to this prayer today. Hineni used to be a prayer that the Chazan would recite silently. It was the words of their own heart, their deepest prayer to God, that they could be a vessel for the light and the love and the prayers of the community, and their voice could be that vessel that would help those prayers to rise. And over time, communities got tired of waiting in silence for the prayer to start, and so the cantors began singing this prayer out loud. And over time, the words which were once spontaneous words from the heart became standardized. This year, so much of our inner world has been silenced. So much of our outer world has been silenced. I'm thinking today about how interesting it is that here we are on Shabbat, and on Shabbat we don't blow shofar. On Shabbat we don't say certain prayers. The requests, the deepest yearnings of our heart typically are silenced on Shabbat. And so today I want to do Hineni a little differently. Today I'm going to do Hineni in the way of our ancestors, in my language of comfort, English, the words of my own heart. And I want to invite you to stand with me as I recite Hineni and to ask for whatever it is that you need, to ask for your prayers to be empowered. Our world needs so much this year, and this work that we do here matters. Our words matter, our prayers matter. Please join me. Sweet loving Lord, I'm asking you from the seat of my heart, for our community's sake, please bless us and help us and empower us. Help us to offer words to you. Help us not only to pray on this day, but also to open our hearts, to open our hands, and to walk forward. Sweet loving Lord, we know this world is so broken. This world of yours needs so much love. And Lord, we know that we are in your hands, that we are your servants, that we carry the potential to do the healing that this world requires. Please, Lord, don't leave us standing here alone. Please, Lord, don't make us feel that our prayers are not answered. Please, Lord, help us to understand that these moments, that these high holidays, they matter, that our prayers today can empower us, can help us to together write our names and the names of all those that we love in the name of our world into the book of life. Sweet love, Lord, we begin this prayer asking that we should be a blessing for you. Please fill us with your light.
Begin together on page 141.
בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים החיים. כתבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים החיים.
חוזר ומושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה.
Amen.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע.
מחכה חיים בחסד, וחיים מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית
וחיה
ומצמיח ישועה.
מי כמוך
הרחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים.
ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני
ושמה.
מחיי המתים.
Amen. Remain standing now as the ark is open for Unatana Tokef.
וכן וחטא לקדושת ידי אלוהינו מלך. ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום, כי נורא היום. ותנשא מלכותך מחול בחסד כיסאך, ותשב אמת, ותשב אמת אמת, כי אתה דיין מוכיח יודע אמת. וחותם סופר מוני, ותזכור את כל הנשכחות, ותפתח את ספר זיכרונות, ומילוי גרועים חוטמיין כל אדמות.
Let us speak of the sacred power of this day, profound and awe-inspiring. On it, your sovereignty is established, and your throne from which you rule in truth is established with love. Truly, you are judge and prosecutor, expert and witness, completing the indictment, bringing the case, and enumerating the counts. You recall all that is forgotten, and will open the book of remembrance, which speaks for itself. For our own hands have signed the page. The great shofar will be sounded, and the still small voice will be heard. Angels will be alarmed, seized with fear and trembling, declaring the very day, this day is the day of judgment. For even the hosts of heaven are judged. No one is innocent in your sight. All that lives on this earth will pass before you like a flock of sheep, as a shepherd examines the flock, making each sheep pass under the staff. So too will you review and number and count, judging each living being, determining the fate of everything in creation, inscribing their destiny.
ושופר גדול ייתקע, וכל דממתך ישמע ומחיר יחפצון וחירתו יחלון ומחיר יחפצון וחירתו יחלון ויאמרו הנה עומדים לפקוד הצבא ורמדים כי לא יזכו בעיניך בנים וכל מה יעמדו לפניך כבני מרון כבקרת עדרו מעביר צאנו תחת שבטו כתעביר ותספור ותפקוד נפש כל חי ותחתוך קצבן כל בריאה ותכתוב את גזר דינם.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on the Day of Atonement it is sealed, but teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah can annul the severity of the decree.
בראש השנה יחתיון וביום צום כיפור יחתיון בראש השנה יחתיון וביום צום כיפור יחתיון כמה
Hashanah
Yikatevun, ubiom tzom kippur yechatemun. Hashanah Yikatevun, ubiom tzom kippur yechatemun.
Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, uviom tzom kippur yechatemun. Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, uviom tzom kippur yechatemun.
Teshuvah, utefillah, utzedakah, mavirin et roh hagezerah. Remain standing now for the Kedusha on page 145.
Sarfei kodesh, hamakdishim shimcha בקודש.
זרם עליים זרם אתה, ככתוב ילוויך וכזה
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech al haaretz kevado.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא מלא עולם.
מקום כבודו.
כבודו מלא מלא עולם ושטוף שלים זה בזה. היה מקום כבודו למטה מלך ימינו.
Baruch kavod Adonai v'mekamo.
ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. אבן ברחמים ויחון על יחדים שבו ובבוקר בכל יום תמיד פעמיים בעוון שמע אומרים
Shema
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. אלוהינו אבינו ומלכנו ומושיענו ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים.
Ani Adonai Elohechem.
אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. והיה אדוני למלך הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור.
Yimloch Adonai li'olam, Elohayich Tzion, L'dor vador, Hallelujah.
ברוך אדוני אלוהים ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם. כי המלך גדול, כי המלך גדול, וקדוש אתה.
We are seated as Eliza leads us now on the bottom of page 149, Uvechein Tzadikim.
ובכן צדיקים יראו וישמחו, ישרים ישרים יעלוזו, ישרים ישרים יעלוזו, בחסידים בחסידים ברינה יגילו, בחסידים בחסידים ברינה יגילו.
Page 151, Ata V'chartanu.
אתה בחרתנו מכל העמים, אהבת אותנו ורצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל השונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקרבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך. בשמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת.
Page 153, Ochila La'el.
אכילה לאל חלמנו, לשלום ממנו מנהל לשון, אשר גם אשרנו, אבירנו אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך ייעוד רצון אמרי וגיון ליבי לבניך בני צורי וגולי.
You know how I was talking about how the pandemic causes certain things that we've always seen but perhaps never focused on, causes them to pop with all kinds of new meaning? So that's about to happen right now with Aleinu. I want to say a word about what happens with Aleinu. As you know, and you'll see in a minute, with Aleinu, the clergy totally prostrate ourselves on the ground. Now, I was never a fan of that move. It always felt hokey to me. It felt hokey. It felt inauthentic. I never knew quite why I was doing it. But it was kind of like a sun salutation. It was a little bit of yoga in the middle of a high holiday service. I was good with it at the calisthenics level, but I was never, and I was good with it at the kind of stretch level, but I was never really bought in on the spiritual level of the total prostration until now. Now I get what I never got. Because what is Aleinu? When we prostrate ourselves, and should you choose to do so at home, if you're following along and you've got the machzor and you've never done this before, let me invite you to consider actually prostrating wherever it is you are in your living room or your kitchen or wherever you are. Why would we do that? And here's why I think we do it. Literally, when we prostrate, we are embodying getting laid low. Like we're standing now, we're standing, we're on our own power, we're on our feet, we're standing, we're secure, and then we're laid low. But it's not only laid low. I think if you had to sum up the one big teaching from the pandemic over the last 7 months, it's humility. It's total humility before that which we cannot control and cannot even often explain. And to me, this new Aleinu meaning is it's a statement of how vulnerable we can be, how we can go from standing up to being laid low, and how humility is our response. Page 154, Aleinu.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים איי 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 לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
The ark is closed. We are seated. We continue on page 157 with Kadshenu.
Yum biddy bum bum bye,
Yum biddy bum bum bye,
yum biddy bum bye bye bye, yum bye bye bye, yum biddy bum bye bye, yum biddy bum bye bye, yum biddy bum bye bye bye, yum bye bye bye. Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha, b'tzedekenu b'toratecha, sabbeinu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, v'taher, v'taher libeinu, v'taher, v'taher libeinu, v'taher, v'taher libeinu le'oftecha v'emet, v'taher, v'taher libeinu, v'taher, v'taher libeinu, v'taher,
וטהר ליבנו ויובך באמת.
בהנחילנו, אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך, ואנוכו ישראל, מקדשי שמך.
Continuing on page 162, Ki Zocher. Page 166, V'karev Pizurenu.
V'karev Pizurenu,
מבין הגויים,
ונפוצותינו כנס כנס מירכתי הארץ. v'karev Pizurenu,
מבין הגויים,
ונפוצותינו כנס כנס מירכתי הארץ. v'karev Pizurenu, ay ay ay,
Mi ben hagoyim, unafutzotenu kanes kanes v'yarketei haaretz.
ונפוצותינו כנס כנס, ונפוצותינו כנס כנס, ונפוצותינו כנס כנס מירכתי הארץ.
Ki ata shomea, middle of page 166.
כי אתה שומע כל שופר ומאזין רוח ידו מלך. ברוך אתה אדוני
Shema.
שומע כל תרועה עמו ישראל ורחמים.
Amen. Our repetition continues on the top of page 167.
ונצא אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל ותפילתם וישבת אדם בגיא ברביתך ותפילתם בעבד גבם ורצון תפילתם דמי תפילת ישראל עמך ותחזינו עינינו בשובך ציון ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Baruch Shema.
ושכינתו לציון.
Amen.
מודים אנחנו לך.
Aton ki lo chalu racham becha, ve'am berachem ki lo tamu chasatecha ve'lam givinu lach. V'yakulam yifram, yidurva shimcha v'alkinu pamin le'olam v'ed.
V'imorkeinu.
V'imorkeinu zechorachem melech, choshkatcham,
ופגרה בכל
v'ashpi, v'mashchita v'mashmar v'magfa, ופגרה בכל מחלה. וכל תקלה, וכל קטטה, וכל מיני פורעניות, ובררה, ושנאת חינם, מעלינו מעל כל בני בריתך, ומעל כל העולם. וכתוב לחיים טובים
כל בני בריתך,
וכל החיים ידוך סלע, ילדות שמך באמת, היי ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני
Shema.
הטוב שמך לכן העליון.
Amen.
ובתנו ברכת וברכה בשלשת בתורה כך כתובה על ידי משה עבדך אמורה מפי ארון ואנחנו כהנים עם קדושך כאמור.
Can you hear Ratzah? Can you hear Ratzah? Can you hear Ratzah?
וטוב עיניך לברך עמך ישראל בחיית ובחושן בשלומך.
בספר חיים ברכה בשלום ופרנסה טובה. ניזכר וניכתב לפניך. אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל. לחיים טובים, לחיים טובים ולשלום.
ונאמר כי ביאו ימיך ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים. לחיים טובים, נכתבין וחיים חיים, כותבין בספר החיים. ככתוב ואתם מדבקים אדוני אלוהיכם חיים כולכם היו.
Lisa, thank you for pouring your heart and your soul into that beautiful musaf. Thank you. If you had to pick one personal quality to be working on this Rosh Hashanah and for the rest of the year, what personal quality would you pick? Let me share with you the context from which that question comes. Specifically, I had one day, a few weeks ago, on the same day, 3 conversations. And all 3 conversations spoke to how our lives are and have been disrupted, sometimes unrecognizably, by the pandemic. So here's the first one. I was speaking to a woman who comes to shul every Shabbos morning. She never misses. And she really misses the fact that she's been missing shul. She misses shul. And she pointed out that she has been counting specifically how many Shabbatot it has been since she was last in shul. And at the time that I spoke with her, it had been 25 weeks that her Shabbos morning was disrupted. 25 weeks she hadn't been coming to shul. That number is now 28. Second conversation was with beloved longtime members. They don't come on Shabbos morning. They're not Shabbos morning regulars. But they love coming on Rosh Hashanah. And they love the energy of this day in the building at 385 Ward Street. They talk about how what happens is you see people who don't come all year long. You see people who have been away for the summer. And there's this sense of everybody coming home. Everybody coming home to their shul on Rosh Hashanah day 1. And they've been sitting in the same seats, in the same pews, with the same shul friends for years. And sitting in those seats, in those pews with those friends is very meaningful to them. And this year, they're going to be sitting in their sofa with a device. They said it's not the same. The third conversation was with an anguished dad. And this dad was anguished because his teenage daughter is anguished. And his teenage daughter is anguished because she had just learned that her year in the Newton High School, she's a Newton High School student, is going to be remote, distance learning, online, virtual, in front of a screen. And her response when she learned this was, I quote, "My life is ruined, ruined." And that really hurt this dad. My life is ruined. She said, "I hate remote learning. And I love seeing my friends. I can't see my friends. I love seeing my teachers. I can't see my teachers. I love being in the building. I can't be in the building. I love my after-school activities. I can't do my after-school activities. And it's been that way since March. And now another year. My life is ruined." And this dad just did not know how to love his daughter through this. And so all of us have experienced our own versions of these kinds of disruptions. We've all had our own disruptions in one way or another. And it's in that context that I asked this question. If you had to pick a single quality to be working on, what quality would you pick? My colleague, Rabbi David Wolpe in Los Angeles, quotes his father, the late Jerry Wolpe, Rabbi Jerry Wolpe, who was a rabbi at Har Zion in Philadelphia. And Rabbi Jerry Wolpe used to say that the most important quality that we should be working on is stamina. Stamina. And the reason Rabbi Jerry Wolpe would say this is, as he puts it, we have to be good and strong and loving, not once, but continually. Now, Rabbi Jerry Wolpe lived and died before the pandemic, and his words were true before the pandemic. How much more true are they now? That we have to be good and loving and strong, not once but continually, in week 28, in month 7 of the pandemic and counting. So what we need is stamina for the long haul. What we need is stamina that's going to allow us to reclaim life with a positive energy in the face of the disruptions that all of us have in our own ways. So the question is, where do we get that stamina? So I was speaking with Eliza one day about stamina and about who is it in the Torah that most embodies stamina. And I offered up the hero of Rosh Hashanah, our father Abraham. After all, Abraham is promised a life of blessing. If you do lech lecha, if you go to the land that I will show you, God says, I'm going to fill your life with blessings. But instead of blessings, Abraham finds challenge, ordeal, test, trial after trial. Famine, wandering, the kidnapping of his wife, Sarah, the kidnapping of his nephew, Lot. He has to fight a war against 5 neighboring kings. He tries unsuccessfully to stop God from destroying the towns of Sodom and Gomorrah. He has prolonged years of infertility with his beloved Sarah. There's a lot of domestic tension between Sarah and Hagar. When Ishmael is born, Abraham is commanded by God, by Sarah, and reaffirmed by God. He's got to banish his own Hagar and his own son Ishmael. And of course, at the end, the command to bind and sacrifice his son Isaac. He really suffers trial after trial, and somehow he persists. So maybe we need to just look at Abraham's life for the secret to how he must have had stamina to overcome all these trials. So I offered that to Eliza, and she said, well, it is true that Abraham suffers, and it is true that he persists, but he's not our comp. He's not helpful to us. Because she points out that Abraham gets props from God. God comes down and says, I choose you. I pick you. I'm going to give you all kinds of rewards. I'm going to give you children that are so numerous. Look at the stars in the sky. You're going to have descendants more numerous than that. Look at the sands on a beach. You're going to have descendants more numerous than that. I'm going to give you this land of Israel for you and for your descendants for all time. And Abraham's agony, his suffering, has to be ameliorated by the glory of his cause. By contrast, though, Sarah suffers, but she suffers in the shadow. Sarah suffers right along with Abraham. When he experiences famine, she's hungry. When he wanders, she goes with him to Egypt. His wife is kidnapped, that's true, but she's his wife. She's the one who's taken to the Pharaoh's harem. But she does all that, and she is in the shadows. There's no glory, there's no glamour, there's no headlines, there's no compliments. God never comes down and says, oh my God, Sarah, you're amazing. I'm going to make a covenant with you. She has to summon stamina in the shadows. And so do we. Most of us are much more Sarah than Abraham. We suffer in the shadows. And the stamina we have to suffer, the stamina we have to show, we have to summon it, is in the shadows. The Groundhog Days that we repeat in the shadows. The disappointed children that we have to console, we console in the shadows. The social isolation that we feel, the pain of being disconnected from friends. When you think, I am a social animal, but I can't see people, we feel that in the shadows. The Zoom fatigue fatigues us in the shadows. When you wake up in the morning and you think, I cannot do another Zoom call, I cannot do another screen, I can't believe I'm stuck at home again. That's in the shadows. So the question is, what can we learn from Sarah about how to summon stamina in the shadows? Here's the first thing that we learn about Sarah. It's true about Sarah, and it is surely true about us. Everybody goes through life carrying something painful. And everybody goes through life carrying something painful for a good, long time. The very first sentence in the Torah describing Sarah describes her pain. It says that she is akara. She's a barren woman. Ein la valad. She can't have a baby. And that's the narrative for most of Sarah in Genesis. She wants to have a baby. She can't have a baby. She goes to sleep. She wakes up with that pain every day for years. And like Sarah, every one of us carries our pain, and we carry it for a long time. But here's the thing, any pain that we carry just got worse in the pandemic. If you carry loneliness, that loneliness got worse in the pandemic. I talked to my father in Jerusalem. He's 92. He's hardly left his home in 7 months. That loneliness got worse in the pandemic. If you carry financial stress and insecurity, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to pay my bills? That just got worse in the pandemic. If you carry health challenges, all these health challenges just got scarier and just got worse in the pandemic. If you carry adult children in their 20s and in their 30s who are struggling to find their way, well, that just got worse in the pandemic. Pandemic is not good for getting a job. Pandemic is not good for career advancement. Pandemic is not good for dating. Pandemic is not good for finding your life partner. And if you carry beloved elderly parents who live alone, who are widows or widowers, that just got a lot harder in the pandemic. Everybody carries something. And whatever it is that we carry, it just got heavier and harder in the pandemic. And that leads to the second thing that's true for Sarah and true for us. That is that we are all bound to have days that are not our finest days, and to have moments that are definitely not our proudest moments. To do things we wish we had never done. To feel things we're embarrassed to feel. We don't want to feel. We sometimes are angry at ourselves for feeling. We're ashamed of feeling it, but we feel it. We can't help it, we feel it. We can't help it, we do it. We can't help it, we feel it. Not our finest hour, but it's what I just did. It's just what I felt. That happens for Sarah. Sarah treats Hagar horribly, horrifyingly. She's so harsh to Hagar. Hagar has to run away. I just cannot take this anymore. I can't take Sarah anymore. And she goes back. And then when she has her child, Ishmael, Sarah expels both of them out of a safe home into the hot, dry wilderness by themselves. This harsh Sarah is obviously troubling. We're always troubled by it. But I've come to understand it's something else. It's not only harsh, it is all too human. And it seems to reinforce the truth that the very best of us can have our worst moments. That is true for Sarah and true for us. So Sarah carries hurt through the years, and that sometimes causes her to act out and not to be the best Sarah. Both are true for her, both are true for us. But let me get to the end of the story, because this is just so powerful. When Sarah dies, the Torah uses a very weird and wordy way to describe the fact that she died. It says that Chayei Sarah, the years of Sarah's life, were 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. Not just weird. Why doesn't the Torah just say she died at 127? And Rashi's answer is the Torah says what it says, schleps it out to make a point. And here's the point that the Torah wants to make according to Rashi. That Sarah was able to retain the innocence of a 7-year-old into her 20s. And she was able to retain the beauty, the physical beauty and the spiritual, emotional beauty of a 20-year-old into her hundreds. In other words, Sarah discovered the secret of stamina. Yeah, she carried stuff. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it caused her to act out. But despite it all, somehow she found the stamina to still be innocent and to have her inner and outer beauty shine through. And so the question is, what was the secret to Sarah's stamina? And rereading Sarah's story now in the pandemic, the secret popped out to me, which is Sarah's secret for stamina is she came to make a deep peace with imperfection. That imperfection is just a part of life. There's no such thing as a perfect person, only imperfect people. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship, only imperfect relationships. There's definitely no such thing as a perfect marriage, only imperfect marriage. No such thing as a perfect day, only imperfect days. No perfect work, only imperfect work. No perfect relationship with God, only an imperfect relationship with God where we grapple and struggle and have lots of questions. Sarah came to a deep sense of peace that the ground rule of life is imperfection. And she had to deal with it, and she did. I sometimes think it's as if God said to her, even before she was born, as if God says to each and every one of us before we're born, while we are still in our mother's embryo, in her womb, God comes down and says to us, listen, are you really sure you want to come into existence? Are you really sure that you want to be born? Because if you do, this is what you're going to sign up for. You need to know this. Okay, on the one hand, if you choose to be born, you're going to find that life is wondrous and sublime and beautiful. If you come into this world, you're going to inherit a world with sunrises and sunsets and gorgeous mountains and beaches and oceans. You are going to discover the joy of listening to a beautiful symphony, of reading amazing literature. You're going to drink fine wine and eat wonderful meals with people that you love. Oh, speaking of love, you're going to discover love. You're going to love love. Love is an amazing thing. You're also going to really enjoy the process and the project of learning and growing, trying to become a better version of yourself. And you're going to find a lot of satisfaction in figuring out, how can I make a contribution to the world? How can I use my energy to make the world better? And that's meaningful. And you're going to love that. But here's the catch. You need to know one thing. If you choose to get born, you need to know that the pain always comes with. Life just comes with pain. And that never changes at every age and at every stage. Pain comes with. When you're growing up, when you're in middle school and high school, pain comes with. When you go to college and after college in your 20s and 30s, pain comes with. If you're blessed to find somebody that you love and you're blessed to get married, don't think pain doesn't come with. Pain comes with. If you're blessed to bring children into the world whom you love more than anything in the world, let me tell you, pain is going to come with. And if you're blessed to live to see grandchildren, pain comes with. And if you're blessed to grow older, pain comes with. And if you're blessed to grow old and you find yourself 90-something in an apartment by yourself, pain comes with. And when you say Yizkor, and you've loved and lost, pain comes with. Pain comes with. That's the deal. Life is really beautiful. And pain comes with. Do you want in? Sarah says yes. And she inherits the glory of life and its imperfection. She marries a husband who is a spiritual pioneer and a zealot. She goes on a journey that is full of meaning and impact. We're still talking about it thousands of years later. And full of danger. Sarah's life was beautiful and imperfect, wondrous, and the pain came with and never went away at the same time. She said yes to that. Can we? That's the question. We all need stamina. It's week 28 and counting. It's month 7 and counting, and it's indefinite. We need stamina. But if we want stamina in the shadows, stamina when we get no glory, no glamour, no headlines, then we need to get deeply good with the fact that life is full of beauty and the pain comes with at the same time. And if we can do that, we can be good and loving and strong, not once, but continually. Shana Tova. We continue now as our ark is open, page 170, Hayom.
Hayom tavseinu.
Amen.
Hayom tivarcheinu.
Amen.
Hayom tegadleinu. Amen. Hayom tidrashenu l'chaim tov. Amen. Amen. Hayom tiktevenu l'chaim tovim.
Amen.
Amen. Hayom tekabel berachamim v'ratzon et tefillatenu. Hayom tishma shavatenu. Amen. Hayom titmechenu bimin tzidkecha. Amen.
Ark is closed. We continue with Kaddish Shalem 171.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shem Rabba.
Amen.
Le'olam tivrak v'notiv amich malchutei. B'chayechoni v'bechoni v'chaytecho b'it Yisrael. B'gala b'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen. Yehesh merabba mevorach. Li'olam olam ve'omaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishamach v'yitbar v'truma v'yitnas
Beit HaKodesha.
Berichu.
Leila, Leila, Miko Brakata, Shirata, Tishbachata, Benechamata, Zaminamil, Mami, Bru, Amen.
Amen.
Tit Kabbat, Slot, and about on the Israel, Kodama, Budish, by Vimru, Amen.
Amen.
Yishamu, Mitzvah, Bachim, Lirva, Israel, Vimru, Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say Shalom, Vimru, Avuya, say Shalom, Lirva, Israel, Vimru, Amen.
Amen. Ein Keloheinu.
Page 172. En Keloheinu, En Kadonenu, En Kevakeinu, En Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michevakeinu,
Moshienu, Nodeh Leloheinu, Nodeh Ladonenu, Nodeh Levakeinu, Nodeh Lemoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Hakeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Vakeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Sheitiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha, Et Ketoret Hasamim.
Aleinu
Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Lateit Gedula Liotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Aratzot, Velo Samanu Kemishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, V'anachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
כך כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
V'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach liolam ul'ome almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitboar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Eliza Berger, how did you feel with this davening? How did it feel to daven your first online Rosh Hashanah service?
It's interesting. This has felt like the most connected davening experience I've had, I think, throughout the pandemic. And I think I really feel you all with us in a powerful way today. And I really want to thank you for being present in that powerful way. How did you feel?
You know, life comes with some unexpected challenges, but unexpected benefits in the middle of those unexpected challenges. It's a silver linings theme that people have been talking about. Obviously, we really miss people in person, but I definitely sensed your presence online, and it was very meaningful to share a Rosh Hashanah and to affirm life and to grapple. I mean, if you had to pick a text that asks us to think thoughtfully about the world that we live in and what it means to us and what we can do to make it better, you could not pick a text better than the davening, the liturgy that we just experienced together. In particular, but not only, but in particular, Unatana Tokef. And so, all of us are in the process of living life. It feels helpful to me to take some time out of time to reflect on the life that we're living and to ask ourselves, how can we do it better? So thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Lisa. Elisa, talk to us about the Torah service, because if you've been with us, you notice that we didn't read Torah yet, but in 7 minutes we will. So how do we do that?
Yeah, so we want to invite you to experience the magic of this year where you are automatically transported to wisdom without having to do a thing. And in that vein, please leave your live stream running. Don't turn it off. Don't log out and try to log back in. Just leave it on and watch the magic, because in just a moment you will be whisked into the Torah service, and let this be a setting for your whole year. That this whole year is a year that you get to embrace effortless wisdom, and wisdom that guides you and blesses us all.
Adon Olam, page 175.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yatzir nivra le'et nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kiklot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי וצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנת כוסי ויום אקרא, מנת כוסי ויום אקרא, בידו ותשען ועירה, וימרוכי גבייתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Shana Tova, and we'll see you at Sinai in 5 minutes.
But stay put. Don't go anywhere.
Get a cup of coffee, stretch, but we'll see you in 5 minutes. Beautiful document.
Thank you so much. Gorgeous sermon.
Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. Yes, all of them.
Peyton loved your
הפקיד רותי ויתשם בהגירה וימרותי כפייתי אדוני לי אדוני לי ולא יירא. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Thank you all for joining us. Go grab a quick cup of coffee or just stretch a little bit, and we will be joining together in 2 more minutes for the Torah service.
All right, my friend. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, we missed a couple. Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Grandma, like, you're sticking around, right? Because I want to thank you at the end of the slide. Are you going to come here? No, you're out to leave? Okay. So moving on.
The last chapel count was 193. Say hello to all your Zoom friends. They're all getting ready.
Aliza, how did it go?
Okay, let's get going.
You know, David, my first time, I couldn't walk and I started crying. I couldn't sing at first.
Why?
He sang a song called Novena.
Elaine and Jeremiah, God bless you. You were incredible.
All right, so we start with
starting with a song.
Will you hold into your thank yous for
We're starting with the song.
Leah and Jeremiah for
It's
this morning?
Elohai Netzor, and then you do in Kamocha, okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Elohai Netzor. Michelle, whenever you're ready, we will start.
I'm here.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. We are going to begin with a beautiful song. Elohai Netzor, my God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Open my heart to your Torah.
Elohai netzor leshoni mehera usvatai medaber mirma. 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 Elohai netzor leshoni
Aseleman yeminecha, Aseleman krushatecha, Aseleman toratecha, Aseleman shemecha, Aseleman yeminecha, Aseleman krushatecha,
Our Torah service begins on page 96.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz li'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Avarachamim, heitiv avirtzoncha, heitiv avirtzoncha, et Zion. Tivnech omot, Yerushalayim, kivecha levad batachno. Tivnech omot, Yerushalayim, kivecha levad batachnu, melech eldam v'nisa, Adon ha'olamim. Vayihi ben so Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'yafutzu oivecha, ve'yanusu misanecha, mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Li'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato.
Avinu Malkeinu, Master of Peace, help us and strengthen us so that we always strive for peace. May there be harmony among all people, their companions and friends. May there be no discord among the members of my family. You who establish peace above, extend peace upon us and the whole world. May we draw close to you and your Torah in truth. And may we all be bound together, carrying out your will wholeheartedly. Master of peace, bless us with peace. Amen.
Amen. Be'ana rachetz velish
Kadisha, Kadisha, Yakira, Anna Elai, Tushbechata. Be'ana rachetz velish Kadisha, Kadisha, Yakira, Anna Elai, Tushbechata. Yeravakaramach, Jetipach livi be'oraita, Betashli mishalin belibi, Belibadecha lamas Yisrael, Letov lechaim velishlam. Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneram b'ma Shemo yachdav, Lecha Adonai gdula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai amalacha v'hamiknaseh lechol rosh. Romevu Adonai Eloheinu v'shtachivu l'hadam raglav kadoshu, Eloheinu v'shtachivu l'hakadsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. Our Torah reading on this first day of Rosh Hashanah, of course, is from Genesis 21. It's found on page 100 in our Machzor. I want to invite you to just marinate on a question. We've all encountered this Torah reading many times, the birth of Isaac, etc. And my question for you is, even though you've read it many times throughout your life, this is the very first time that you've read it in a pandemic. And my question is, as you read this now through the lens of our reality today, what pops out that you've never quite seen before? And marinate on this at home. I'm going to ask my colleagues to marinate on this. What pops out now because of the pandemic that you never quite noticed before? After our Torah reading and after Haftarah and before our last song, we'll just do a very quick round table of what popped for you. And we invite you to think about that right now and over your Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah lunch table. But our Torah reading is going to begin on page 100, and Phyllis Gordon is going to take this aliyah. Bruce and Maddie and Dan and Liz are going to take this aliyah.
V'yazor v'yagim Mashiach l'chol hachosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol hav'goloheinu tenu chavod laTorah. Yamdu la'aliyah harishona. Baruch shenatan Torah l'imo Yisrael b'kedushato. V'yatem avikim eloichem chaim kulchem hayom. Baruch Adonai Barach Olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Adonai, Pakaret Sarah, Kasher Amar, Vayas, Adonai, L'Sarah, Kasher Diber, Bata, Batele, Sarah, Li'Abraham, Ben Liskuna Lamoed Asher Diber Oto Elohim Vayikra Abraham Et Shem Beno Hanalad Lo Asher Yalda Sarah Yitzchak Vayamal Abraham et Yitzchak beno ben Shmona Yamim kasher Tivaroto Elohim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Well, first of all, a lot to unpack here. Phyllis, we are thinking about Caleb. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's an Ace Ratzon. It's a time when God is hearing all of our prayers and supplications. So we're now going to offer a prayer for healing for all those who could use a prayer for healing.
מקור הברכה לגמותנו. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Igimotenu, Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Amen. Phyllis, send Caleb our love. And now, Maddie and Bruce and Dan and Liz. Maddie, we don't even have words to thank you, but we would love to ask you, what is it like to lead a synagogue through a pandemic? Could you just say something about that?
Well, I have no basis for comparison, but I will say that the love and the support of the clergy and of the congregation has made it bearable. And what we've seen is an enormous amount of love and reaching out to each other. And I hope we can continue to sustain that in the months to come. But I'm appreciative and thankful to all of you for your encouragement and your support. God bless you all.
Well, Maddie, on behalf of a grateful congregation, Thank you for leading us through perilous and unprecedented times with unprecedented grace and strength and the perfect temperament, calm in a storm. Thank you, Maddie. We are going to continue with the second aliyah. Vicky Eisman is going to chant it, and we're so delighted to invite Faye and Jesse Zychik to take this aliyah.
Baruch hu Adonai Hambarach. Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten
Shmo.
ha'olam.
Amen.
Amen. Abraham במעט שנה, ויוולד לו את יצחק בנו. ותאמר שרה צחוק, עשה לי אלוהים, כל השומע יצחק לי. ותאמר מי מליל אברהם, הנה כבנים צרה, כי ילדתי בן לזקוניו. ויגדל הילד ויגמל, ויעש אברהם משתה גדול, ויום יגמל את יצחק.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Yasher kochach, Vicky and Jesse and Faye. Wow, you are a sight for sore eyes. It is such a gift to see the two of you here, especially having taken that aliyah, which speaks of the unexpected blessings that Sarah received, so much so that she laughed to even imagine that she could have a blessing like this. So I want to ask the two of you to share with us one blessing in your life.
Sorry, I unmuted myself. Well, our biggest blessing is sleeping right now. We caught him during nap time. We had it all planned for him to join us, and we'd be holding him. He'd probably be trying to crawl out of our arms, but that's the blessing. Almost 1 year old will be Asher on September 24th. Oh, and then also we have grandparents, Gil and Janet Slovin, who my grandfather Gil, for those that you know him, said that he'd be very disappointed if we didn't mention him during our aliyah. So we wanted to how fortunate we are to have such wonderful grandparents. Great grandparents to Asher.
Beautiful, a beautiful kavod, and may you have the blessing that Sarah and Abraham had, a blessing of laughter.
And Faye has one more blessing.
Faye, please.
I'm pregnant.
B'sha'a tova mutzlachat. Mazel tov. We cannot wait to have and to share that blessing with you, God willing, sometime soon in person. Lots of love.
B'sha'a tova, mazel tov. We are going to continue with the third aliyah. Vicky is going to chant it, and so delighted to invite Ronnie and Carol Marcus to take this aliyah.
Yamdu la'aliyah hashishit.
Baruch hu Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vatir Sarah Ibn Hagar Hamitri Asher Yodal Abraham Betzapeh Vatomer Abraham Karesh Amahazot Be'epna Kilo Yirash Bin Hamahazot Beni Yitzhak, Vayera Hadavar, Ve'od Bnei Avraham, Alodot Beno. Vayomer Elohim el Avraham, Al Yera Be'enecha El Hanar V'Elamatecha, Kol Asher Tomar Elecha, Sarah Shema Bekolah, Ki B'Yitzchak Yikare Lecha Sarah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Vicky, thank you so much for chanting so beautifully. We have Tracy's shofar, just an awesome shofar blower, and your beautiful Torah reading. Just tell us how your family's doing. How is the Eisman family doing?
We're okay. Where everything's fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's working and healthy. So we're okay.
May that continue. It's so good to see you, Vicky, and so good to hear you. So Ronnie and Carol Marcus, can I tell you what I'm thinking about now when I look at you? Carol, I just remember this year after year after year, seeing you on Rosh Hashanah. You happen to have a necklace, and on your necklace you have you have little things for all of your grandchildren, little pieces of jewelry for all your grandchildren that hang on a necklace. And I'm just wondering if you're wearing that now.
I never take it off, Wiz.
You never
I
take
even
it.
sleep with it on me.
Well, may this just be a year of life and health and strength for you and for your children and for those precious grandchildren that you carry on your necklace, always near your heart.
Thank you very much.
We are going to thank you, dear. So we're going to continue with our next aliyah, and Jordan Tarley is going to chant it, and Jacqueline and David are going to take it.
Yamdu la'aliyah ha'riviyit.
Baruch Adonai Hambarah.
Baruch Adonai v'rach le'olam
Baruch
va'ed.
Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. וגם מבין העמל לגוי אשימנו, כי זרעהו. וישכם אברהם בבוקר, ויקח לחם וחמת מים, ויצא אל הגר. קם על שפלה, ואת הילד וישלחיה, ותלך ותיטע במדבר באר שבה. ויכלו המים מן החמת, ותשלח את הילד תחת אחר השיחים. ותלך ותשב לה מנגד, הרחק תמצא חווי קשת, כי אמרה אל ירא בן מות הילד. ותשב מנגד, ותישא את קולה ותף. וישמע אלוהים את קול הנער, ויקרא מלאך אלוהים אל הגר מן השמיים. ויאמר לה מלאך הגר, אל תיראי, כי שמע אלוהים אל קול הנער באשר הוא שם. קומי שאי את הנער, וחזקי את ידך בו, כי לגוי גדול אשימנו. וייקח אלוהים את עיניה, ותראה באר מים, ותלך, ותמלא את החמת מים, ותשקה את הנער. ויהי אלוהים את הנער ויגדל, וישב במדבר, ויהי רובה קשת. וישב במדבר פורן, ותיקח לו אמו, אישה מארץ מצרים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Jordan, first of all, yash koach on your beautiful Torah reading. Jordan, tell us like where you are, how you are in life. Where are you in school, and how is that going?
I'm good, thanks. I'm in my junior year of high school. I go to Newton South, and unfortunately, we're all virtual as per right now. But I'm doing okay, thanks.
Good, and you're just working your way through the all virtual.
Yeah.
Well, it's so wonderful to
You
see
too.
you, and we just pray that you're going to have a fabulous year, whatever life throws your way,
Thank you
Jordan.
so much.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Jackson Bunis, the pride of the University of Michigan. How's that going?
Yes, go blue. I just graduated from the University of Michigan, and now I am back home working hard on the campaign trail.
Well, good for you. Mazel tov on your graduation, and may you find much meaning and satisfaction from your work. And David and Jacqueline would love to hear your thoughts on this day of Rosh Hashanah.
I think we're just incredibly grateful to all of you at Temple Emanuel for continuing to give us spiritual strength and feeling of community. We're very excited and blessed to have Jackson with us. Nicole's on her way home, and Justine and her is engaged to be married. So we're really excited about that. So we're very grateful for good health, and wishing everybody a year of good health and sweet and better new year.
Amen to that. And just a special shout out to Justine and to Jacob for their wedding coming up, I think around Thanksgiving Day weekend, and it should just be a source of great joy for your family. And David, we just wanted to thank you for being such a source of wisdom and steady leadership at all times, and especially this time. So deep gratitude to you, David, and Jacqueline, thank you for being so generous with your family. Lots of love, guys.
Thanks, Wes.
We are going to continue with the next Aliyah. Joyce Bonin is going to chant it, and so delighted to invite Sarah and Elon Strickler to take this Aliyah.
Yamdu Aliyah HaChamishit.
Baruch Hu Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Mechilam Va'ed.
Baruch Atam Baruch Lelam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim. V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Kumi si'et hanar v'hachaziki et yadecho ki l'goy gadol asimenu vayivkach Elohim et eineha v'hatere be'er mayim v'hatelech v'tmaleh et achim et mayim v'hatashk et hanar v'yihi Elohim et hanar vayigal vayeshev b'midbar vayiro b'kashat vayeshev b'midbar paran v'tikach lo imo isha me'eretz Mitzrayim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We just want to thank Elon for bringing peace to the Middle East. Mazel tov on the Bahrain and UAE, and just wanted to welcome you and Sarah. And what an interesting time to be doing work for Israel. And how is that going? And how is life going?
Life is going good. You know, we used to always say never a dull moment in the Middle East, but this week was certainly very exciting. And then life on the home front is also going well. We're happy and healthy, and my parents managed to visit their only grandson by driving 1,100 miles in an RV from South Carolina, and they're still happily married, doing great. So we had a wonderful visit.
They drove 1,100 miles to see Noah.
From Charleston, South Carolina.
That's love. That is love. Wow. And Sarah, love your voice on this Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you. Nice to see everybody.
Well, great to see you guys. And please give Noah a big kiss from his friends at Temple Emanuel. Joyce, oh my God, it's not Rosh Hashanah unless I can hear your davening, and it's so beautiful to hear your prayers and your words. Tell us how the Bonin family is doing.
The Bonin family is doing well. Kids and grandkids are well. And I am very happy to just always tune into what I'm referring to as the dream team at Temple Emanuel. You have been a lifeline to us and to so many, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, we love you and Michael and your family, and it's just such a blessing every day for all of us to be with all of you and all of us online until we can be together in person. Lots of love, guys. We are going to continue with the next Aliyah. Becky Lieberman is going to chant it, and Debbie and Michael Knight, who are celebrating a very special wedding anniversary, are going to take this Aliyah.
Yamdu la'aliyah hashishit.
Baruch et Adonai HaMelech.
Baruch Adonai Mechilam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMelech Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Vayhi beit hahihi v'yomer
Oh,
Avimelech.
okay. So they'll know that it's me that's on. Okay, so I'll just okay.
I'm sorry, there was some interference. I shall begin again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Becky.
Amen. Vayhi beit hahihi v'yomer Avimelech u'tichol Sar tzvo el Abraham le'emor Elohim imacha b'chol asher ata oseh ve'ata hishava li ve'Elohim heina im tishkor li uvenini uvenachti כחסד אשר עשיתי עמך תעשה עמדי ועם הארץ אשר גערת בה. ויאמר אברהם אנוכי איש אביה. והוכיח אברהם את אבימלך אל אותות באר המים אשר גזלו עבדי אבימלך. ויאמר אבימלך לא ידעתי מי עשה את הדבר הזה, וגם אתה לא הגדת לי, וגם אנוכי לא שמעתי בלתי היום. ויקח אברהם צאן ובקר וייתן לאבימלך, ויכרתו שניהם ברית.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. First of all, Becky, Yashkoach, and thank you for your composure and your calm and just being so centered. You know, you've been reading Torah for us for years and Torah on the holidays for years, and at a young age, you're already a seasoned pro, so thank you for that. Becky, give us a sense of how you are and where you are and what you're up to nowadays.
Thank you. Believe it or not, it's been almost 20 years that I have been reading. I started the holidays after my bat mitzvah. And it is always a pleasure and always a blessing to join you, especially now when we're all virtual.
I just thought your bat mitzvah was yesterday. Where did 20 years go? Oh my God. So what are you up to nowadays?
I am still working in healthcare and really enjoying my work. And looking forward to, after the service, is going back to Newton to spend some time with my my parents and with my aunt and uncle as well.
Wow. Well, Becky, it's so wonderful to see you and to hear you. May you do it again next year. May you do it again next year, though, in person. And thank you. And Debbie and Michael, so you are celebrating, as I understand it, a 28th wedding anniversary?
That's correct.
And what when is your actual wedding day? What day?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Wow. And where did you get married?
We got married in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Wow. And do you have any reflections to share with us on thriving in 28 years of married life?
Well, I think the secret to that is getting the very, very best set of earplugs you can find. No, that's a very good question. It's not always easy to answer, but I think that it all boils down to respect. Respect for your spouse's opinions, respect for tastes and preferences, respect for hobbies, and just general respect. And respect coming from one's heart. And it can be found if you search hard enough.
Thank you, Michael. Debbie, would love to offer your words.
I would just add that you have to remember to thank and acknowledge each other and appreciate one another. After the day in and the day out, to not forget to say I love you and to thank you for all that you do.
Well, we want to bless you. Your big day is tomorrow, so we want to pray. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avram v'Sara Yitzchak v'Rivka Yaakov Rachav Leah. Hu yivarech et hachatan ve'et hakala, asher alu hayom kedei lahodot l'shem kodshecha, al kol hachesed asher gamal lehem, miyom simchat libam u'miyom chatunatam ad hayom hazeh. May God, who is the author of love and home and family, may God now continue to bless you, Debbie and Michael, as you've taken an aliyah on this very important and very beautiful morning, this morning of Shabbat, this morning of the first day of Rosh Hashanah, and this day before your 28th wedding anniversary. And you've taken this aliyah to thank God for all of the goodness and kindness that God has lavished upon you in the 28 years since you first got married. May God now continue to bless you with the gifts of health and strength and life. These should continue to walk together hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder through the years, a source of blessing to the many people who love you. And for this, let us all say, Amen.
כל חתן וכל כלה,
Mazel tov and many, many more happy returns of the day. We are going to continue with our seventh aliyah, the final one from the first Torah scroll. Rachel Hinden is going to chant it, and Tim and Julie are going to take this aliyah.
Yamdu la'aliyah hashivit.
Hu et Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai v'rach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noti haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayatev Abraham et Sheva, kivsot atzon levadhen. Vayomer Avimelech el Abraham, Mahena, Sheva kivasot ha'eleh, asher itzavta levadena. Vayomer, ki et Sheva kivasot yikach miadi, בעבור תהיה לידה, כי חפרתי את הבאר הזאת. כן קרה למקום ההוא באר שבע,
משם נשבו שניהם. ויחרטו וריבי ושבה, ויקם אבימלך, ובכל זאת תבוא, וישוב ארץ פלישתים. ויתשל בבאר-שבע, ויקרא שם בשם אדוני אלוהים. ויגר אברהם בארץ פלישתים ימים רבים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam notan b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Rachel, Yashar Kochecha, on your beautiful reading. Tell us how you and John and Becky and Sarah and Hannah are all doing. Of course, we recently had a Becky, Sarah, Hannah treat. They led Ashrei recently. But just tell us how your family's doing nowadays.
Shana Tova to everybody. We are all doing well. Like everybody, we are taking it day by day, but we are grateful that everybody is still healthy and everybody is, happy, taking everything in stride, keeping busy, making music, and looking forward to each new day.
Thank you. It's so great to hear. Will you do us a favor? Will you give our love to Malcolm and Judy Hinden, your parents? And I'm looking at where they usually sit and where they will one day again sit soon when we're back in business in person. But we miss Malcolm and Judy too as well. There's 3 Hinden generations we miss, and it's just so good to see you. Tim and Julie, so great to see you as well. Sight for sore eyes. Tell us how the Mahonis are doing.
We're good. We have one child living in a dorm in college, and we have one child starting college from actually my brother's apartment in Boston because her dorm closed. But we're very grateful. My father's living nearby. We're both very busy at work, and we're very grateful for our temple community that continues to be a great source of support. And we are thank you to all of the clergy and to Maddie.
Thank you, Julie. Tim, thank you. Lots of love, guys.
Thank you.
We are going to rise for Chatzi Kaddish and the first Hagba and Galila.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yama divra kirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'yemeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach Leolam ulamei amaya Yitbarak ve'yishtabach ve'yitpar ve'yitnomam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitada ve'yitale ve'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata ve'shirata Tushvichata v'nechemata damidan v'yama v'yimberu amen.
Lifting and tying of our first scroll. Zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai V'yad Moshe. We are seated. Our Maftar Aliyah comes from the book of Numbers. It is found on page 106, and it's actually written in the temple bylaws that Sandy thou shall always chant this Maftar Aliyah. It's not Rosh Hashanah unless Sandy is chanting this Haftarah, this Maftar on page 106.
Yamdu Aliyah HaMaftirah.
Yeah, and we're so delighted to welcome Linda and Steve Gelda and Abe and Alice Zimmerman, who are both couples are taking this Aliyah, and then they will share the Haftarah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Natan et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ובחודש השביעי, באחד לחודש, נקרא קודש, יהיה לכם. כל מלאכת עבודה לא תעשו, יום תרועה יהיה לכם. ועשיתם עולה לריח ניחוח לאדוני, בר בן בקר, אחד איל אחד, כבשים בני שנה, שבעת תמימים, ומנחתם סולק לולב השמן, 13 עשרונים לפר, 2 עשרונים לאיל, ביסרון אחד לכבש האחד, לשבעת הכבשים, וזריזים אחד חטאת, לכפר עליכם, מלבד עולת הקודש ומנחתה, ועולת התמיד ומנחתם, ונזקיהם כמשפטם, לריח ניחוח אישה
Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Well, Sandy Thou, it's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. And just wanted to hear your thoughts on the first day of this new year.
Well, I think when you spend enough time with Rick Thou, you get hardwired to think of silver linings. So I'll think of silver linings today, that although we are spread all out, we're joined in this service by my father, who's at Newbridge, by Rick's mom, who's in New York, and both of our kids who are home. So that's a pretty good way to start the new year.
That's a beautiful way to start the new year, and that is, if we could take that lens and bring that lens with us every day, we would have a better life. Thank you for that, Sandy. Linda and Steve, so good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm looking at where you would normally be sitting, and where you sat for so many Rosh Hashanahs, also with your mother Shirley. Love to hear your voices on this day of Rosh Hashanah.
Well, I'm just grateful to have family around, friends, and communities of people to sort of keep us going. And, I think I'm amazed at how resilient we all are at sort of dealing with this. Who would have thunk? So I'm heartened by that.
Thank you, Linda. Steve?
Yeah, I've had the thought about Shirley, my mom, who sat with us all those years and who you would always graciously greet, Wes. That on the one hand, I miss her and I wish she was here. On the other hand, I'm glad that she was spared. This year was a tough year. So it's with that mix of gratitudes that I think of her. My brother is attending his first Temple Emanuel service via Zoom in Boynton Beach, Florida, and I believe my kids and grandkids are sort of nearby in the community. So we feel very fortunate to have each other, and very fortunate to have the Temple Emanuel community. And I can say that as imperfect as Zoom is, I've been to more. This is a confession. I've been to more Shabbat services and services in general through Zoom than I would in an ordinary year. So I'm very grateful to the clergy and to the temple. Thank you.
Well, sending love to all Geldas of all generations. So good to see you. Abe and Alice, it's so wonderful to see you. We would love to hear from you guys how the Zimmerman family is doing.
We are okay as far as we know. That everybody in the family is okay. Most of us are having to stay at home most of the time, in looking at webinars, in other things during the day. And also, it's great to see the online that we have from the temple for in the clergy every day coming through life with us in difficult times, and we have to do the best we can in this under these circumstances. And it's not going to be easy, but we look forward to be together next year in Temple Emanuel.
From your mouth to God's ears, Abe. Alice?
Yeah, they say that it's a season of renewal now during Rosh Hashanah, but I feel like these past 7 months have been a season of renewal. Just always in the tradition of thinking about what's important to us, what we value, what's unimportant. So even though things are different, a lot is the same. We still make the effort to be in touch with family, to be in touch with friends, to do volunteer work, to learn, to grow, to challenge, to laugh, to fight, to argue, and just to be finding ways and sources of happiness during this time. So, as different as it is, the things that are important really continue to be important. And that's not just this season, but throughout all seasons. Having said that, I'll be happy to spend the next season outdoors with friends and continue to really find joy in life and to move on.
Amen, guys. Abe and Alice, Linda and Steve and Sandy, the face of God. That's what I see when I see you. Please rise.
Okay, we're off.
V'zod HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai B'yad Moshe. We are seated for the Haftarah, which Steve and Linda and Abe and Alice are going to share, beginning on page 108.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'rotzav v'divreihem hanemorim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah Moshe abdo U'Yisrael amo u'b'nbiei ha'amet b'tzedek Vayehi ish echad min haramatayim tzofim mei harefraim u'shemo Elkanah ben Yeracham ben Elihu ben Tohu ben Suf Ephraiti v'lo shtei nashim shem achat Chana v'shem hashenit Pnina vayihi lifnina yiladim u'lechana in yiladim v'yala ha'ishahu meiro miyamim yamima Lishtachavot v'lizboach l'Adonai tzivot v'shilo v'sham shnei b'nei Eli Chafni u'Phinchas kohanim l'Adonai Vayihi hayom v'yizbach Elkanah v'Natan לפנינה אשתו, ולכל בניה, ובנוסיה מנות, ולחנה ייתן מנחת אפיים, כי את חנה אוהב, אדוני סגר רחמה. וכי עשת צורתה גם כעס בעבור הרימה, כי סגר אדוני ביד רחמה. וכן יעשה שנה ושנה מדי עלותו בבית אדוני, כן תכיסנה ותבכה ולא תאכל. ויאמר לה אלקנה אישה, חנה למה תבכי ולמה לא תאכלי, ולמה ירא לבבך, הלא אנוכי טוב לך מעשרה בנים. ותקם חנה אחרי אכלה בשילה, ואחרי שתו, ואלי הכהן יושב על הכיסא על מזוזת היכל אדוני.
ויהי מרת נפש, ותתפלל על אדוני וברכות תבכה, ותדור נדר, ותאמר אדוני צבאות, אם רעות תראה ואני אמתך, וזכרתני ולא תשכח על אמתך, ונתת לאמתך זרע אנשים, ונתתיו לאדוני כל ימי חייו, מורא לא יעלה על ראשו. והיה כי ביתה להתפלל לפני אדוני, ואלי שומר את פיה. וחנה היא מדברת על ליבה, רק שפתיה נאות, וקולה לא ישמע, ויחשביה אלי ושיכורה. ויאמר עליה אלי, עד מתי תצחרי, הסירי את עינך מאלייך. ותענה חנה ותאמר לו אדוני, אישה כשת רוח אנוכי, ויין ושכר לא שתיתי, ואשפוך את נפשי לפני אדוני. וירתיתן את אמתך לפני בת בליעל, כי מרוב שיחי, וכסיתי בת יד עינה. ויען אלי, ויאמר לכי לשלום, ואלוהי ישראל ייתן את שאלתך אשר שאלת מעמו. ותאמר תמצא שפחתך בין ביניך, ותלך האישה לדרכה ותאכל, ופניה לא היו לה אור. ויסכימו בבוקר, וישתחוו לפני אדוני, וישובו ויבואו אל ביתם הרמתה Hana Ishto Vizkere Adonai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol ha'olamim tzadik bechol hadorot האל הנאמן האומר ויעשה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ונאמרים דבריך בדבר אחד מדבריך אכול לא ישוב ריקם כי אל מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו
Amen.
רחם על ציון כבית חיינו ולעלוות נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shemo.
שמח ציון לבניך
Amen.
שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו ואליהו הנביא עבדך ומלכות בדוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסאו לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא ירווה נרו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shemo.
מגן דוד
Amen.
על התורה ועל עבודה ועל המילים ועל יום השבת הזה ועל יום הזיכרון הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמלוכה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד וברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shemo.
מלך על כל הארץ מקדש השבת וישראל יום הזיכרון
Amen. Abe and Steve, Yeshkoach, on both of your beautiful chanting. You really, such a pleasure to hear you and to bring the beauty of our Haftorah to us on this day. We are going to rise for Yahalelu as we return our Torah scrolls.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskov Shemo levado, Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem kerem liyamo,
Leila lekol hasidav, Lile Israel gam kiravo.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Uvnocha yomar. It's time li amachazikim aba v'torah v'teya meusha terapeya akenom b'kol netivoteya Shalom Ashibei Adonai Elecha Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Maddie Donoff, we'd love to hear your words of greeting.
Shalom and Shana Tova.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's such a pleasure for me to be here with you this morning to share with you in this beautiful Rosh Hashanah service and to have the opportunity to extend my best wishes to all of you for a happy, a healthy, and a peaceful new year. A special welcome to all of our new members who are sharing the holidays with us for the very first time. Yasher koach to our wonderful clergy and to all the participants in our service this morning. A special thank you to our Torah readers, a remarkable group of talented women, Phyllis Gordon, Vicki Eisman, Joyce Bonin, Becky Lieberman, Rachel Hinden, Sandy Thau, and Jordan Tarley. Yasher koach. And thank you to our accomplished Haftorah readers, Steve Gelder and Abe Zimmelman. Music is such a meaningful part of our services, and I want to thank the musicians and choirs who celebrated with us on Erev Rosh Hashanah. Our musician in residence, Jeremiah Klarman, who's with us again this morning, our choir leaders, Eugenia Gerstein, and the Kol Emanuel and Zamira choirs. Musicians and soloists, as I said this morning, were Jeremiah, joined by Elaine Baker D'Angelo and and David Rosenberg. Sorry about that, Mikey and David. Thank you for your beautiful music this morning. A special thank you to Lisa Hills and her High Holiday team of volunteers and staff for the incredible job they've done to make our at-home services a most meaningful spiritual experience for everyone. Toda Rabah to our fabulous executive director, Jeff Lurie, and his entire team, who've been working tirelessly for many, many weeks to ensure that everything goes smoothly throughout the holidays. Of course, thanks so much to Brian Levsky and David Beckman for bringing us services every day, live streamed since the beginning of March, and who are working now alongside the crew from HB Live to bring services into our homes throughout the entire High Holiday series, in the entire High Holiday services. A special thank you to Rick Thau, who is serving as our virtual usher. Just a few brief announcements. We're delighted that Rabbi Mika Goodman will be our inspiring young keeper speaker next Monday afternoon at 4:45 via live stream from the Rabbi Samuel Chiel Sanctuary. Mika's talk is entitled God, the Admiration That Transforms Us. Since today is Shabbat, please note that Tashlich will be observed tomorrow at 4:30 at Bullows Pond. And if you've registered on our website, feel free to join us for a COVID-approved Tashlich. If you're unable to join us in person, we hope you will access our online resources to find other meaningful ways to observe this ritual. Please join us via Zoom right after services today from 12 to 12:30 for our virtual community Kiddush. This is a wonderful way to connect and wish each other a Shana Tova. Mincha today is at 6:15 live stream from the Rabbi Samuel Chiel Sanctuary. On behalf of our lay leaders, I want to again wish you a happy, healthy, peaceful, and sweet new year. We hope that our Temple Emanuel community will continue to be a source of joy, meaning, and inspiration to all of you in the year ahead.
Speedy.
Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, Umitzvah.
הנני בצלם אלוהים, נקבים נקבים נשמתי תורה היא. הנני בצלם אלוהים, נקבים נקבים נשמתי תורה היא. ברוך אתה אדוני, wondrous source of healing. Baruch אתה Adonai, we thank you and praise your name.
God, this body is all I have. May I be blessed to praise your name. God, body is all I have. May I be blessed to praise your name.
Nishmati Torahi, Inmeni V'Tzelem Elohim, Nekavim, Nekavim, Nishmati Torahi.
Shana Tova!
Shana Tova! Shkoyach, everybody.
We'll see you all at Kiddush on Zoom.